the Italian Football Podcast.
Let's finish off by doing our Serie A awards for the 2023-24 season. On Monday we did our Serie A team of the season. Now we're going to go through all there's a number of prizes we're giving away. Let's say.
Should we also do should we just repeat our teams of the season?
Go on then. Yeah.
Go on then. You go first. You go first because mine was just slightly different than yours.
Okay, you haven't got yours written down.
Right.
Right. So mine is a 3-5-2. It's Jan Sommer in goal. Then back three of centre backs are Pavard. Pavard is my right wing back.
Yeah.
Even though he didn't play right wing back for Inter, I had to find a place for him in the team. Then my three centre backs are Bremer, Bongiorno, and Calafiori. And then my left wing back is Di Marco. My centre midfielders are Calhanoglu, Coop Miners, and I've shoehorned Pulisic into a more of a midfield role, even though he was an outside winger for Milan. And then my front two are Lautaro Martinez and Joshua Zirkzee.
I have a 3-4-2-1, and the only difference I have is Bellanova on the right, Bastoni instead of Calafiori to the left. I have a double pivot, Calhanoglu, Coop Miners. And I have Pulisic and Leao behind Lautaro. So 3-4-2-1. But other than that, it's pretty much the same.
Okay. Right. Let's go through our Serie A awards now then. Let's start off with the position. So let's start with best goalkeeper. I'm going to read out my shortlist. Then I'll tell you who my winner is. And then you can come in and give me your winner. And if you really think there should have been someone on the shortlist that should be considered, you can do that as well. So the shortlist is Jan Sommer, Michele Di Gregorio at Monza, and Szczesny at Juventus. That's the three goalkeeper shortlist. And as you will have guessed from my team of the season, I'm going with Jan Sommer. I think that he many people, including Inter fans, thought he would be a downgrade on Onana. We were unhappy with selling Onana to Man United, and Sommer has actually ended up being an upgrade. He's got Inter have conceded the big five leagues less goals than anyone else in Europe's big five leagues. Jan Sommer has more clean sheets than any other goalkeeper in Europe's big five leagues, and I think generally been really steady, really reliable, hasn't made really hardly any mistakes. I think the only ones I can really remember were after Inter had won the title already, so it didn't matter. And just really, really, really impressive from Sommer. But Di Gregorio has been excellent as well, and Szczesny as well has been one of the few at Juventus who I think has been a positive this season.
I've got really nothing more to add to that other than the fact that Jan Sommer was, I think I said it at the time, that he's a better shot stopper than Andre Onana. The problem would have been at the build-up phase where Onana's technique with the ball is good enough to play him in midfield in most teams, like with the way that he controls the ball in his passing. But that was not a problem. They bought him because he's decent with the ball at his feet, Sommer. He's good. He's made mistakes this season, absolutely, but I think he's made some incredibly decisive reflex saves because he's a better shot stopper than Onana, and it's turned out really well for Inter.
Fair enough. Let's go with best centre back now. We're only picking one here. So the shortlist I've got is Riccardo Calafiori, Bologna, Alessandro Bongiorno from Torino, Bremer from Juventus, Benjamin Pavard of Inter, because he did actually play as a centre back for Inter, even though I put him in my team of the season as a fullback, and Isaac Hien as my fifth for Atalanta and Verona. He spent the first half of the season at Verona, second half at Atalanta. So those are my five centre backs. This was a really difficult one for me. I've gone for Riccardo Calafiori. That some people might be a bit surprised by that, but I think he's had such a breakout season. He's been such a phenomenon for Bologna team, who have had one of the best defences in Serie A. I think second best defence or third best defence in Serie A. Conceded quite a few goals right at the end, and he's just been brilliant. He's got everything, I think, to become the next great kind of Italian centre back. Don't want to go overboard because only one season, but physically he's got the aggression. He's a modern defender. He can bring the ball out of defence. He's good in the air. His interceptions are great. I think he's been wonderful for Bologna.
He's my breakout player of the season, Calafiori. My best defender is Bastoni. I think Alessandro Bastoni has taken strides defensively that I did not expect him to do this season. I think he's been incredibly solid defensively. In attack, he is what he is. He's unbelievable. We know what he is. He's one of the best in the world. And so for me, Alessandro Bastoni is the best centre back. I have the same I have the same short list but I just have
Bastoni.
Bastoni instead of Hien, and I have Bastoni as the winner. Hien, I think, has been good, but I still think he's still a little bit too raw. To
Yeah, I
give
was
him a start.
struggling. I was struggling to find a fifth centre back for the shortlist, but to be honest, I should have put Bastoni. To be fair, so I actually agree with your shortlist. Best fullback. This was really difficult. There hasn't been many good fullbacks in Serie A this season, and to be honest, all the three that I picked are not actually fullbacks; they're wingbacks. So that tells you everything.
Tells you everything.
Also tells you how many teams play back threes in Serie A. So
Well, Fiorentina have a fantastic left fullback, but that idiot doesn't play him, and he plays Biraghi instead.
Well, again, that's
Don't get
Palade's
me
fault. Again,
started.
why would you sign?
Don't get me.
Why would
Don't
you
get me.
sign Parisi if you've already got a left?
Why would you? No, why would you play Biraghi over Paris? Don't even.
Yeah,
Don't even get me started.
let's not go back to talking
Breathe,
about that
breathe.
man again. Right, Federico Di Marco, Inter, Raul Bellanova, Torino, and Ruggeri from Atalanta. I mean, for me, it's a no-brainer. It's Di Marco.
Yeah, it has to be.
Who also scored the goal of the season,
Yeah,
which was just
that's
astonishing from the halfway line. But I mean, yeah, I don't think this is even
But it's
close.
not just that. The goal against Empoli, his crosses. I mean, he delivers points, goals, and assists. Di Marco.
Oh yeah, he does.
It's just he has his deficiencies, especially in defense, but you can't argue with that left foot and the fact that he delivers points, goals, assists.
His
corner.
use of the ball is world class. There's no doubt about that. It's incredible. Best midfielder now. Been some really good midfielders. These are more kind of central midfielders or attacking midfielders that I'm picking here for the shortlist. So I've got Calhanoglu from Inter, Barella from Inter, Coop Miners from Atalanta, Loftus-Cheek from Milan, Lewis Ferguson from Bologna. This was a difficult one, but I've gone for Calhanoglu because I think he's been magnificent.
Yeah, for me it's the same thing. Except for Lewis Ferguson, I've got Tijani Reinders because I've really liked him this season. I think he's been very exciting to watch. I'm really impressed by Ruben Loftus-Cheek, who I didn't understand why Milan got, but I think he's been very, very good. He's been he's been the father in midfield to give them balance, Milan, and he's been very, very solid. So hats off to him. But yeah, for me, at the end of the day, it was between Coop Miners and Calhanoglu, and I just went with Calhanoglu because I think
everything, his passing, his creativity, his vision. He's obviously scored 13 goals. I know most of them are penalties, but he's probably the best penalty taker in Serie A, and he's also much improved defensively as well.
Yes, he has incredibly. No, I'm with you on that. The only thing I said is just the Reinders on my short list instead of Lewis Ferguson.
Okay. Best winger. So I've got three here for the shortlist. Christian Pulisic, Milan, Rafael Leao, Milan, and Matteo Sule from Frosinone. Obviously, again, not many teams in Serie A play wingers, so it's not easy to get a big shortlist for this. But
by default, you put in Kvicha, and he's not really had a good season.
No, that's it. I did think about that, but I thought Sule deserved it. Even though Frosinone went down, I thought first half of the season he was actually one of the best players in the whole of Serie A, in my opinion. I think he deserves it. But yeah, overall, I think we have.
Chiesa scored 9 goals in the Serie A, didn't he?
Yeah, he did. Yeah, he did. But I mean, didn't play as a winger. He played in the front too. So it's not easy. But Pulisic I've gone for as my best because I just look at his numbers. Just looking at his numbers more than anything else. I mean, 12 goals, none of them penalties, 7 assists. I mean, those are really, really.
Those are really strong really numbers, and I'm inclined to agree with you.
Yeah, and he was more consistent than Leao. Leao had like hot and cold periods.
Leao had a higher ceiling,
definitely,
than Pulisic, but he was a little bit too inconsistent. But I mean, I think there are reasons for that. I'm 100%. One day maybe it'll come out, but I'm 100% certain that it was a very tactical decision by Pioli and Leao to play him deeper in the build-up phase for large parts of last season or this season that just ended.
Yeah, well, you did an excellent pod on that in January about that. Okay, best forward now. Lautaro Martinez, Joshua Zirkzee from Bologna, Dusan Vlahovic, Juventus, Marcus Thuram from Inter, and Albert Gudmundsson from Genoa. Those are the 5 I have on the shortlist. I mean, you could make the argument for Lautaro or Zirkzee, but I think because Lautaro was the capocannoniere, and by a long distance as well, I think you have to go for Lautaro. It wouldn't be right not to, I think. But Zirkzee definitely has been absolutely magnificent as well.
Absolutely. No, I've got the same shortlist and I've got the same winner.
Yeah,
Lautaro. So
Yeah, absolutely. Right. Well, Capo Cannoniere, as we said, Lautaro Martinez. Best youngster now. I've gone for under 23s. So Raul Bellanova won't get on that short. So Joshua Zirkzee from Bologna, Riccardo Calafiori from Bologna, and Matteo Sule from Frosinone on loan from Juventus. I think for this we have to go. We have to go for Zirkzee. I mean,
Yeah,
he was
he's been a
absolutely
revelation.
amazing. Yeah.
He's been a revelation, and it's just he's been unbelievable.
Just on a
Unbelievable.
side note on that, did you know that Zirkzee hasn't been called up by the Dutch
Yeah,
national team for the
but isn't
Euros?
Koeman in charge of the
Oh,
Netherlands?
that guy isn't that man. That
That
man.
man, yeah,
What
that man.
I mean, that is insane. Especially when
Yeah,
you look at the players that got called up
yeah,
in attack
I
instead. I
know.
mean, Wout Weghorst is going to start, and
Yeah,
then Memphis
mm,
Depay,
yeah.
and all these other clowns that they've got in attack. And it's absolutely unbelievable. How can you not take Joshua Zirkzee?
Especially given how that you have to replace them
He's not
because of
injured, is he? I know he missed the
no,
last couple of games. That can't be the reason why. I mean,
no, he just doesn't believe in him, I
unless there's an
guess.
injury, I don't think there is. I don't think it's a
Mm,
serious injury,
mm,
unless I'm mistaken. So
mm,
that's just incredible. And I actually think they've got a pretty good team of players, squad of players. But potentially Holland. But then they've got an absolute idiot in charge who's clueless. That's going
mm.
to ruin it all for them because I think they've got some real talent like
Yeah,
their
I
centre
think so as well.
midfield. I was looking at it earlier today. The midfield with Frankie De Jong, Koopmeiners, Reinders, and then Frimpong and Dumfries and as wing backs and in
It's
defence
decent.
centre back Van Dijk and De
De
Vrij,
Vrij, De
De
Ligt.
Ligt,
Yeah,
Ake. I mean, there's
yeah, Ake,
quality
yeah.
in there
No,
by
they do have
international
quality
standards.
players.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but then they've
they
got
do.
that.
They do.
It's
They
mad.
absolutely do. No, I'm with you on
Mm.
Zirkzee as the best youngster under 23. The only category that we don't have near on the list is big, like breakthrough star, and that has to be Calafiori. Like he has
Yeah. Again, I
taken.
think it's the same. I think it's Zirkzee or Calafiori, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah, it's one of those two. But
Mm.
I don't want to give everything to Zirkzee. But so
Yeah, let's
I
let's
think
share it
Calafiori
around.
does.
Yeah, like the
Yeah,
Serie A does.
yeah,
Serie A, like
exactly.
they give best attacker to someone else, or best
Yeah,
player
but
to
that's
Lautaro, but
silly.
Lautaro can't win
Yeah,
best attacker.
that is silly. And Marcus Thuram isn't even nominated, which is ridiculous.
Yeah.
Um, yeah,
Well, Sommer wasn't even nominated for best goalkeeper, which I
yeah,
found
no,
insane as well.
yeah,
The goalkeeper with the best goalkeeping numbers in all of Europe doesn't get in for best goalkeeper.
mental.
Anyway, best transfer. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4. I've got 7 on here on this shortlist. So Marcus Thuram to Inter, Pulisic to Milan, Loftus-Cheek to Milan, Riccardo Calafiori to Bologna, Scamacca to Atalanta, Di Ketelaere to Atalanta, Bellanova to Torino, and Tijani Noslin to Verona. Those are my shortlists. I don't think I missed anyone out, but you can tell me if
No,
I have. I've gone for because when I look at best transfer, I look at a number of different things. I don't just look at how well they did. I
no,
look at the fee, how much did they
yeah.
pay for them, how much did they impact the team, like how much of an impact did the team need them, for example.
I look at the same
And I
things.
also look at the I also look at don't just try not to. I know it's on this season, but I also try and look at what they can potentially give in the future. And so that's what I look at. So like you could
I
buy a
look at all
36
of
year
those.
if you buy a 36-year-old, you could have an amazing season, but
Yeah,
you're not going to get anything else from him going forward. So based on all that, my winner is Marcus Thuram because he was a free transfer.
I look at all of those things that you mentioned, and I also look at if like their season as a whole, like were they good just in the beginning, in the middle, in the start. But I try to look at like from start to finish, and I look at Marcus Thuram and I see surprising consistency as well.
Mm.
So for me, it's Thuram without a doubt. He hits every single metric. Free transfer, consistent from match day 1 to match day 38. Incredibly important, fundamental to how Inter attack because he can dribble, he's quick, he's a reference point, he can win the ball up, he can play with the goal with the ball with his back against goal, all of those things. My only criticism is, of course, the finishing. He has to score more, which Marcel Desailly said to me this season when I interviewed him. Like he
Mm.
needs to score more goals.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, I've gone
so
for Turam, but I was I don't think it was clear cut for me because I think that the argument you would make against Turam is the fact that Inter already have a great team and were maybe some of the other players more important as signings to their teams. For example, Calafiori was so important for the Bologna defence, and he was incredible. Scamacca, okay, that was the. I don't think we could give it to Scamacca because it was the end of the season when he really came strong. But Noslin, for example, there's an argument. I would say if we're doing the best January transfer, definitely Tijani Noslin, because he was so vital.
And also
for them.
breakthrough player, because nobody knew who Tijani Noslin was before.
No, and I think without him, would Verona have stayed up? I'm not sure they would have done. And I'm actually seeing this morning, Nicola Skira, our friend of the show, is reporting that some of the big clubs are looking at Noslin this summer.
I can imagine.
So
I get that. I can understand that.
Yeah.
But I hope enough with Verona selling. Like, come on. Like, they need to keep someone. Like, enough of this.
It's going to be second generation regens.
Yeah,
it's going to be like when you get to
40 seasons in.
Yeah, like 2040 or 2035, you have your first generation regens, and then like 2055, you have your second generation regens, where the first generation regens have retired.
Exactly.
That's where we're on to now with Verona. Right, worst transfer of the season. I've picked 3.
I've got the same 3,
but something tells me I've missed someone here because I've rushed this. So Jesper Lindstrom to Napoli from Frankfurt, Timothy Weah to Juventus from Lille, and Renato Sanchez to Roma from PSG on loan. I've gone for Lindstrom because of the money. They spent like almost pushing on 30 million. The guy had 0 goals, 0 assists.
I'd have Jesper Karlsson at Bologna too, because when he came to Bologna, like in last summer, there was lots of hype around him, and he hasn't delivered at all. Daichi Kamada was a player who I had so much hopes for, but I still think that if he stays at Lazio and if Tudor stays, they can do something there.
Also, if we're being honest, Fabiano Parisi, again, we're not apportioning blame here. But Fabiano Parisi, I know he hasn't played much. We probably have to put him on as well.
Yeah, no. But the thing with Jesper Karlsson and Parisi and these guys is that they
didn't get much of a chance either. No.
Well, exactly, and also I think they will next season. I think Bologna are basically doing to Karlsson what they did to Zirkzee.
But also with a lot of these transfers, especially the 2 you just added, plus Lindstrom, like they were bad signings in terms of the vision of where they were going to fit into the team. Exactly. Like Lindstrom is a counter-attacking player, he's a transition player, and he's going to a possession team.
Yeah.
Then you've got Parisi. Why would you sign a player when you've already got a left back and you know they're not going to play?
Who's your captain?
Kamada's gone again to a horizontal kind of possession team, and he's an intense kind of vertical player. You know, so we're almost criticising the transfer chiefs more than the players.
That's what we are.
Yeah,
that's what we are doing, and correctly so. I'd like to add, correctly so. Aurelio De Laurentiis turns out is not a good direttore sportivo. Who knew? Everyone except for Aurelio De Laurentiis. But he learned his lesson. Now, hopefully, Napoli can bounce back because we want an exciting Serie A. I want a competitive Serie A, and that's something I want to say as well. Next season, I don't want the title wrapped up in March. I want this to go to the wire. It's getting boring now.
Well, yeah, the last 2 seasons it's been like that.
Yeah,
it is boring. It is boring. But luckily, the last 2 seasons we've had really good European. We've done well in Europe until at least last season 3, but 2 of the competitions. So the excitement has kept going, and that's been really important. Otherwise, I think the pod would have been a little bit boring. I'm sure we would have found a way to make it interesting. But you know what I mean. There has to be something on the line. Final one, best manager. I've got on my shortlist, although I think it could be longer, Thiago Motta from Bologna, Marco Baroni from Verona, and Simone Inzaghi from Inter. Now, usually, I would generally pick the winner of Serie A because they've won the biggest title. This season, I'm going for Thiago Motta because I just think is what he did with this Bologna to get in the Champions League, with the team he had, the squad he had. Miraculous. But I also acknowledge Marco Baroni for what he did at Verona after selling virtually their entire squad in January is also an incredible job as well.
Davide Nicola has to be on this list for me. If you could slice an award 3 ways, it'd be Baroni, Inzaghi, and Thiago Motta. because I think they all deserve it.
Mm.
I really do. And maybe a piece of it, a crumb to Davide Nicola, because I think the
Okay, well, let's make it 5. Let's make it a 5-man shortlist, and let's include Ranieri, because I think Ranieri did an amazing job as well at Cagliari. I mean, there's three managers there that their team should have been relegated on paper, and they've all kept them up. So well done to them. But I have to go for Thiago Motta. I think if I have to pick one, because I just think it's just an incredible historic achievement that Bologna have done, and they've done it playing amazing football. They've done it with maybe I haven't checked it out, but other than Inter, Bologna must have the best record against the big teams in Serie A this season. And he develops players, and I think he's done an incredible job.
No.
Oh, there is one other award, but I think we haven't. Let's hold this for Monday, because we haven't gone and compiled the shortlist for this. So we were going to do a Prem face of the season as well, but we haven't compiled it. We haven't compiled it. So if you're listening, please do send in your Prem face of the season. We will do it. We'll do it on Monday. We'll do it on Monday when we do our Prem face of the week. Let me make a note of that now.
Yeah.
Prem face of...
I did add a few in the doc, but I think you removed them all. We had 2 already. We got one from Chris and one from, I think it was Kunal.
Oh, yes, we do. Okay, well, let's do it then.
No, I'm just saying let's do it on Monday, but we want more.
We want more. Yeah, we've got 2. We've been given 2.